I want to tell you about a clipboard. My Uncle Ray kept the week's route on a clipboard hanging off the dash of his van. Names, addresses, what the job was. And by my second summer riding with him, I noticed something. The same addresses kept coming back around. Not once a year, 3, 4 times. Different month, same kitchen sink. So I asked him. He said something I never forgot. He said, "Kid, most of these people are not unlucky. They're doing the same thing wrong over and over, and nobody ever told them." Now here's the part people skip. Nobody in this trade is paid to tell you. A plumber shows up, clears the line, writes the ticket, and drives on. That ticket runs $150 to $250 on a weekday. Clearing the clog is the job. Explaining why it'll be back in 6 weeks is not. Today, I'm going to do the thing that isn't on the invoice. 10 mistakes. Everyone reliably puts a plumber in your driveway, and I made 3 of them myself when I was young and figured I knew better than an old man with a clipboard. Now let me square something up because that title makes it sound like there's a back room full of plumbers rubbing their hands together. There isn't. Most people I've worked beside are honest folks who fix what's broke and go home. Nobody is plotting. It's simpler than that, and sadder. These mistakes are good for business, so nothing pushes anybody in the trade to correct them. Nobody hopes out loud. They just don't mention it. I'm going to mention it. Number 1. Pouring grease down the drain and chasing it with hot water. Everybody thinks they've solved this one. Pan of bacon fat. Run the tap hot, down it goes. Problem solved, right? Here's what happened. Hot water thins that grease enough to move it 6, 8 feet down the line. Then it hits the first cool spot, and there's always a cool spot. Under the slab, out in the crawl space, wherever that pipe leaves the warm part of the house. Temperature drops, the grease goes right back to solid, and now it's coating the inside wall of your pipe like wax running down a candle. One breakfast is nothing. Do it twice a week for 2 years, and an 1.5-inch drain line narrows to about the width of a pencil. And every coffee ground, every noodle, every bit of rice sticks to it. The fix costs nothing. Empty coffee can under the sink. Pour the grease in, let it firm up, and it goes out with the trash. Greasy skillet gets wiped with a paper towel before it touches water. That's the entire fix. And let me correct something I hear constantly. Hot water does not dissolve grease. It relocates it. You moved the problem somewhere you can't see it and can't reach it. Free versus a $200 kitchen line call twice a year, forever. Number 2, trusting the jug of drain cleaner. I understand the appeal. $9 at the grocery store, and the label has a picture of a clean pipe on it. What's in most of those jugs is lye or acid, and the way it works is heat. That heat is the problem, not the solution. Old galvanized steel or cast iron, which a lot of you have, the caustic goes after the metal where it's already thin. PVC, the heat softens the plastic and works on the glue in the joints. And here's the one nobody tells you. If your clog is grease, and in a kitchen it usually is, lye plus fat is how soap gets made. That's not a comparison, that's the chemistry. So there's a real chance you turn a soft grease plug into a hard, waxy soap plug that's worse than what you started with. Then it still doesn't drain, and now you've got a pipe standing full of caustic liquid. I've walked into houses where somebody poured 3 jugs in over a weekend. A lot of shops, mine included back in the day, add a hazard charge to a chemically dosed line, $25 or $50, because when that cable comes out, it slings that stuff everywhere. Some won't touch it until you flush it clear. Go mechanical instead. A plastic barbed hair tool is $3. A drum auger with a quarter-inch cable is 15. Both beat the jug every time. Number 3. Plunging, but plunging wrong. 9 times out of 10 when somebody tells me the plunger didn't work, the plunger was fine. The technique was: start with the tool. That red rubber cup on a stick, the one everybody owns, is a sink plunger. It's flat on the bottom, built to seal against a flat surface. A toilet has a curved throat instead, so a cup plunger on a toilet is just sloshing water. What you want is a flange plunger with the soft rubber sleeve that folds down out of the cup and seats into that throat. $12, and it's a completely different tool. Now the other half. A plunger works on pressure, and pressure only builds in a sealed system. On a bathroom sink, there's a little hole up under the rim. That's the overflow, and it runs back into the drain below. Don't plug it, and your force goes out that hole instead of into the clog. Wet rag stuffed in tight. Double kitchen sink, same idea. A wet rag jammed into the second basin. Then the stroke. Enough water to cover the cup. Set it down slow to get your seal. Then short, firm strokes. Do not break the seal on the pull. The pull does the work. Now the safety part, and I want you to hear it. Never plunge a drain with chemical cleaner sitting in it. Never. That's a bowl of lye coming straight back at your face and forearms. And those are real burns that send people to the emergency room. If somebody already poured, bail it into a bucket with a cup, gloves, and eye protection on, and dispose of it the way the label says. And if a plumber is coming, tell him what's in there before he opens it. $10 tool used right versus a $175 call. Number 4. Punching a hole through the clog and calling it fixed. This one is the whole business model. You run the auger, you feel it grab, water goes down, and you feel like a champion. 3 weeks later, it's slow again, and you figure you've got bad pipes. You don't have bad pipes. A drain clog is not a cork sitting in the middle of the pipe. It's a sleeve. Grease, hair, soap scum, and biofilm, which is just a slimy layer of bacteria, built up on the pipe wall over months until the hole in the middle closes. When you punch through, you made a channel the size of a pencil. The sleeve is still there, still greasy, still fuzzy, still catching everything that goes by. So it closes back up. Same sink, same house, same clipboard. The fix is 10 more minutes. Once you break through, don't pull out. Feed the whole cable down the line. Then crank it back and forth while you retrieve it, because that scrubs the wall instead of poking it. When the cable's out, run the hot tap wide open 5 full minutes to carry the loose material away. And on a kitchen line, an enzyme treatment overnight, which is bacteria in a bottle that eats grease, not a caustic. It works on the sleeve while you sleep. 10 extra minutes now versus another $200 in a month. Quick word before number 5. Every fix I just walked you through came out of my book, 101 Ways to Unclog Any Drain. The repairs in there use cheap things you already keep under the sink. Link sits in the description or scan the code on your screen. Subscribe to The Vintage Pipe Fitter for more old-school sense that saves real money. Number 5. The coat hanger. I know why people do it. It's free, and it's right there in the closet. But between you and me, I've run more calls that started with a coat hanger than with any other tool in America. 2 problems. First, it's stiff. A drain line has that U-bend under the sink, and hanger wire will not follow a bend. It goes in, hits the curve, stops. And what do you do then? Push harder. All that does is pack the clog tighter and drive it downstream. Past the trap into pipe you can't reach without a real machine. You just turned a $15 problem into a $200 one. Second, that cut end is sharp, and it's dragging along the pipe wall. In PVC, it carves scratches, and every scratch is a new place for grease and hair to grab. In old galvanized, it strips the zinc that's keeping the steel from rusting. That spot is now a permanent clog factory. I pulled a hanger out of a trap arm once that had been in there so long the homeowner forgot he'd lost it. Own this instead. A drum auger, $15 at any hardware store. Quarter-inch cable, 25 feet. And for bathroom sinks and tubs, a plastic barbed strip, $3, that grabs hair and pulls it out whole. Feed it with a slight twist. Never force it. Number 6. Living with a slow drain. This is the expensive one. Nobody wakes up to a slow drain. It sneaks up 5 seconds to 30 over 6 months, and there's no day you notice it changed. But a slow drain is a clog that isn't finished forming. That's the cheapest, easiest moment you'll ever have. The line is still open. You can put a cable down and clear the whole sleeve in 20 minutes. Once it's a full stop, you're on somebody's emergency board. Weekday daytime, a drain call is $150 to $250. Nights, weekends, holidays, $300, $400, sometimes more. Same 20 minutes of work, and I'll tell you, clogs do not wait politely for Tuesday morning. They finish on Thanksgiving when the house is full and the disposal is running, and there's dishes for 12 people. Now, an honest word, and it matters. If every drain in the house went slow at once, if the toilet gurgles when the washer drains, that is not a fixture clog. That's your main sewer line, and that's roots, or a sag, or a breakout in the yard. That job belongs to a licensed pro with a camera and a real machine, and it may need a permit. I'm not handing you a rented sewer machine and pointing you at your main. Crack a clay joint or wrap that cable in roots, and you're paying for the extraction plus the repair. Know where your line ends and stop there. Catch it slow, that's $15 and 20 minutes. Ignore it, that's $3.50 on a Sunday. Number 7. Flushing the wipes. The box says flushable. Understand what that word means because it's doing less work than you think. Flushable means it will leave the bowl. That's the test. It does not mean it breaks down, and it does not mean it reaches the treatment plant. Toilet paper is engineered to come apart in seconds in moving water. That's its whole design. A wipe is built the opposite way on purpose. There's a fabric mesh in it, usually plastic fiber, because a wipe that fell apart in your hand would be no good to anybody. It goes down and snags on the first rough thing it finds. A root hair, a joint, a section of cast iron. Once one hangs up, the next braids into it. Add grease, and you get a rope. That's the word for it in the trade. A rag rope. I've pulled ropes 2 feet long out of a cleanout, wipes and floss and paper towel wound together. Same rule for paper towels, cotton swabs, dental floss, feminine products, and the sneaky one, so-called flushable cat litter. The fix is a $10 trash can with a lid next to the toilet, and one house rule everybody knows. If it wasn't toilet paper, it goes in the can. $10 versus a toilet pull and reset at $250 to $400. Or worse, a main line call. Number 8. What you're feeding the disposal. First, let me kill a myth that's 40 years old. A garbage disposal does not have blades. Take a flashlight and look down in there. You'll see a flat spinning plate with 2 blunt metal lugs on it. Those are impellers. They swing out when the plate spins and throw food against a stationary ring with teeth in it, and that ring does the grinding. Nothing in there is sharp, so ice does not sharpen anything. It can knock crud loose off the grind ring, which is probably why the tip survived this long. But you are not sharpening a blade that doesn't exist. Now the food. Coffee grounds are the worst thing you can put down there, and it isn't close. They don't dissolve and they're heavy, so they settle in the trap and pack like wet sand. Eggshells. That thin membrane wraps the impellers and the shell grinds into a gritty sand that binds with grease. Pasta and rice keep swelling for hours. Celery, corn husks, onion skins, anything stringy wraps the plate. But the biggest one is running it dry. No water means nothing carries the ground food out of the chamber and past the trap. It sits in the bend and dries into a plug. The right way. Cold water on first, then the disposal. Feed it slow and small, and let the water run a full 30 seconds after the grinding clears. Cold, not hot, because cold keeps fat firm, so it grinds and flushes instead of melting and coating the pipe downstream. 30 seconds of water versus a $175 call. Number 9. Pulling the P-trap without a bucket, then cranking down the nuts. The P-trap is that U-shaped bend under your sink. It holds about a cup of water, and that water is a plug that keeps sewer gas out of your kitchen. It's also where most sink clogs live. And here's the good news. It comes apart with your hands. 2 ways people wreck a simple job. First, no bucket. That trap is full of water, plus whatever's stuck in it. And the second, that nut breaks loose, it all comes out. Onto the cabinet floor, which on most sink bases is particle board. Particle board that gets wet, swells, and never goes back. Clear the cabinet out, lay down an old towel, set a dish pan under the trap before you touch a nut. Second, over-tightening the slip nuts. Those plastic nuts go hand-tight, and if it weeps, maybe an eighth of a turn with channel locks, that's all. And here's the part people skip. That joint does not seal on thread pressure. It seals on a beveled nylon washer inside it, tapered side facing into the fitting, flat side against the nut. Crank on it with pliers and you crack that washer or split the nut. Then it seeps. 1 drop a minute inside a dark cabinet until the floor goes soft. A bag of slip joint washers is $3. A whole PVC trap kit is under 10. 1.5 inches for the kitchen, 1.25 inches for the bath. $3 and a bucket versus $200 and a new cabinet base. Number 10. Skipping the $3 part and the 10 minutes a month. Last one, and it quietly covers most of the others. Start with the strainer. A basket strainer for the kitchen sink is about $5. A mesh screen for the shower drain is $3. Hair plugs almost every tub and shower in America, and hair mixed with soap scum makes a mat about like felt. A $3 screen catches it before it gets in the pipe. Then the monthly flush, and do it right because most people don't. Plug the basin, both basins, on a double sink and fill it to the top with the hottest water your tap gives you. Then pull the stopper and let it all go at once. It's the volume that scours the line, that full column dropping out together. A trickle of hot water does nothing. Hot tap water, not a kettle of boiling water. Your tap runs 120, maybe 140, and that's plenty. Boiling is 212, and poured on PVC over and over it can soften a glued joint. And no, not baking soda and vinegar. I know it's on every list on the internet. It fizzes beautiful in a glass. Down in a pipe, that acid and that base cancel each other out in about 4 seconds and leave you salty water and some gas, sitting in a trap, going nowhere. It isn't scrubbing anything. If it ever seemed to work, you chased it with a kettle of hot water, and it was the water. Uncle Ray called that a science fair project. $3 and 10 minutes a month versus a couple $100 a year, every year. Close. So there's your 10. Look at what it actually took. A coffee can, a $10 flange plunger, a $15 auger, a $3 strainer, a bucket, and a bag of washers. Under $50 of gear in a milk crate in the garage, and it covers most of what puts a plumber in a driveway. Not one of those is a stupid mistake. Everyone looks right and feels right in the moment. That's exactly why they keep working out so well for the trade. Nobody was ever going to come tell you this. Uncle Ray told me. Now I've told you. One last thing. That same book, 101 Ways to Unclog Any Drain, walks the whole house with you. Kitchen, bathroom, tub, shower, toilet, laundry, floor drains, out to where the main begins. Every repair is a drain call you never pay for, and those run $150 to $400. Details sit below. Subscribe here at the Vintage Pipe Fitter for weekly trade know-how. Bonus tip stinger. Now hang on 10 seconds, because there's one more, and nobody expects it. The drain that stinks, but isn't clogged. Guest bathroom, floor drain in the basement, laundry sink you use twice a year. Sewer smell creeps up out of it, and everybody's first move is a jug of drain cleaner. That drain isn't clogged. Remember the P-trap holding a cup of water. That water is the only thing between you and the sewer. Nobody runs that fixture for a few weeks. The water evaporates, the trap goes dry, and the gas comes right up an open pipe. The fix is a cup of water poured down the drain, then a splash of cooking oil behind it. The oil floats and slows the evaporation for months. Free. Takes 9 seconds. And I have been paid $175 to do exactly that, more than once. Between you and me, I never did feel right about those.